Some episodes of Suits were absolute masterpieces, razor-sharp dialogue, high-stakes tension, and character chemistry you could watch for hours. But not every episode hit the mark, and as the seasons went on, especially after major cast shakeups, a few episodes left fans staring at the screen, wondering what on earth had happened to their favorite show. Today we're counting down the 5 most hated episodes of Suits, the ones that made fans sigh, cringe, and ask, how did this even make it to air? Let's dive in. At number 5, we have Season 9, Episode 3, Windmills, which scored a 7.5 out of 10. Now, 7.5 doesn't sound terrible until you remember that strong Suits episodes routinely sit in the high 8s and even 9s. So for fans, this wasn't just a dip. It felt like a warning sign. So why did they turn on Windmills? Let's break it down. Season 9 was already under massive pressure to deliver a strong ending. And then Faye Richardson walked in and took control of the firm. For many fans, this was the moment the final season stopped feeling like Suits and started feeling like something else entirely. Why? Because Faye doesn't just challenge the firm, she strips core characters of the very traits that made viewers love them. Harvey tries to outsmart her, Louis spirals about becoming a dad, and Samantha is stuck navigating an ethics trap. But here's where the episode truly lost the audience. For the first time in the entire series, Harvey Specter isn't allowed to make a move without permission. There's a specific moment when Harvey brings her a strategy he knows will work, and she forces him to sit down and justify every detail. That completely flips the power dynamic. He isn't Harvey Specter, closer of the decade. He's a senior partner being micromanaged like a rookie. Fans felt this on a gut level. Harvey's entire identity is built on instinct, confidence, and control. Faye takes that from him, and it feels wrong. Louis's storyline suffers too. Becoming a father should have been a vulnerable, meaningful arc. Instead, the episode turns it into frantic background noise, overshadowed by Faye's suffocating presence. What could have been an emotional milestone becomes stress comedy. That's why viewers reacted so strongly. Faye wasn't just a villain, she was a symbol of everything Season 9 was losing: momentum, personality, and emotional weight. Fans said it best, Faye is the worst addition ever. She's just here to make fake drama. This episode made me miss the old days when cases actually mattered. Windmills isn't the absolute worst, but it's the moment fans realize the final season might not land the way they hoped. Number 4, Season 9, Episode 7, Scenic Route, 7.5 points. By this point in the final season, fans wanted momentum, answers, payoff, and high-stakes drama. Instead, they got a road trip. Harvey and Samantha set out to find Samantha's biological father. A story with emotional potential, but positioned at the worst possible moment in the series. On paper, scenes like Samantha opening up about her past should feel powerful. But in practice, they feel out of place and out of character. There's a moment where Samantha becomes visibly shaken at the idea of meeting her father, and Harvey tries to comfort her. Normally, Harvey's emotional intelligence comes through subtly. A quiet look, a firm statement, a steady presence. But here, he feels strangely stiff, like the writers needed him to be emotional, rather than letting the moment evolve naturally. The result? The scene feels forced instead of heartfelt. Worse still, this emotional detour comes at a time when fans were desperate to resolve the bigger arcs. Harvey and Donna's relationship, Faye's takeover pressure, Louis's baby storyline. Multiple dangling ethical conflicts. The series hits pause on everything that matters to take a trip that feels like it belongs 2 seasons earlier. That's why fans called it filler, not because the plot had no emotional value, but because the timing derailed the final season's urgency. Viewer reactions said it all. Who asked for a buddy road trip in the last season? Suits forgot how to suit up. This is just wheel spinning. Scenic Route isn't a bad episode on its own, but in the context of a final season racing toward the finish line, it feels like the writers slammed the brakes. Number 3, Season 8, Episode 9, Motion to Delay, 7.4 points. By the time this episode aired, fans were already sensing that Season 8 had lost its footing. But this is the moment where the issue becomes unavoidable, because the episode doesn't just stumble, it undercuts the very traits that made Suits feel sharp and alive. The setup sounds great on paper. Harvey and Lewis team up against Samantha's old firm. That should have been explosive. Harvey's fire, Lewis's strategy, and Samantha's personal stakes all colliding in one tense courtroom showdown. Instead, we get a version of Suits that feels strangely hollow. There's a moment in the courtroom that fans point to as the breaking point. Harvey is about to challenge opposing counsel, and normally he'd deliver a razor-sharp strike without hesitation. But here, he pauses, too long. He glances at Samantha, almost uncertain, and when he finally speaks, the impact is gone. The room loses energy, and Harvey, the closer, suddenly looks like he's lost his instinct. For many viewers, that single hesitation was more revealing than any line of dialogue. It was the first time Harvey Specter didn't feel like Harvey Specter. And then there's Samantha. She has deep emotional history with her old firm, and the episode should have leaned into that. We should have seen her vulnerability, her anger, her sense of betrayal, something. Instead, the script glosses over her emotional stakes, reducing her to a plot device rather than giving her a moment to confront her past. Fans immediately noticed the missed opportunity. Even the Harvey-Lewis dynamic feels off. The chemistry that normally makes their scenes unpredictable and electric is gone, replaced by a cold, mechanical partnership where neither feels fully present. Louis is anxious, Harvey is distant, and together they fail to generate the typical Suits spark. Fans summed it up in one brutal line: "Motion to delay, I motion to fast forward." Not because the story was terrible, but because the emotional pulse of the show was missing. This episode quietly reveals something painful. The characters aren't just losing cases, they're losing themselves. Number 2. Season 8, Episode 2, Pecking Order, 7.2 points.
Because I am on this team now, and whether you believe it or not, I've got its best interests at heart.
You got a funny way of showing it. Because from where I stand, Harvey is the firm, and you don't seem to have his back at all.
The biggest problem isn't the infighting itself. Suits has always thrived on sharp, character-driven conflict. The issue is how the conflict unfolds. One of the clearest examples is the scene where Donna, in her role as COO, makes a firm-wide decision. She's composed, confident, and acting exactly the way fans expect from someone in her position. But then Samantha walks in and challenges her publicly, aggressively, undercutting Donna's authority in front of others. The moment isn't written as two strong women disagreeing. It's written as if Samantha is bulldozing her way into the show without earning her place. And the real emotional damage happens because Harvey doesn't step in. He watches the power struggle, tries to smooth things over, but never actually supports Donna. Fans felt that immediately. It wasn't just a plot beat, it was Harvey abandoning the emotional backbone of the firm. Meanwhile, Louis spends the episode sulking, not because the script gives him emotional space to process anything, but because he's reduced to a reaction machine for everyone else's drama. He's insecure, isolated, and sidelined at a time when viewers needed him to be grounded, not used for tonal balancing. The problem with Pecking Order isn't that there's conflict. It's that the conflict feels manufactured, not earned. Tension for tension's sake, disconnected from the characters' established emotional arcs. Fans summed it up perfectly. Pecking Order? More like picking at scabs, painful and pointless. Season 8 started bad and got worse. This isn't just another weak episode. It's the moment viewers realized the show was pushing a new cast dynamic before the audience was ready for it, and pushing Harvey, Donna, and Louis into behaviors that didn't fit who they had been for years. Number 1. Season 8, Episode 8, Coral Gables, sitting at a rock-bottom 7.2, and for many fans, the moment the show officially jumped the shark. The tonal whiplash of this episode hits immediately. Louis travels to Florida with Sheila for her amniocentesis, and the entire aesthetic of the show suddenly changes. Gone is the sleek Manhattan energy. In its place, we get sun-soaked rom-com lighting, awkward humor, and a storyline that feels so disconnected from the rest of the series that fans wondered if they were watching a spin-off no one asked for. But the real breaking point is the emotional dynamic between Louis and Sheila in the doctor's office. Louis tries to be calm, supportive, and rational. You can see in his eyes that he wants this to be a tender moment. Sheila, however, pushes him hard, dismissing his hesitations, pressuring him emotionally, and controlling the entire interaction. What should have been a moment of mutual vulnerability turns into an uncomfortable power imbalance, and fans hated watching Lewis being overwhelmed like that. Meanwhile, back in New York, Harvey and Donna are navigating ethical gray areas, decisions that feel strangely off-brand for both of them. Instead of grounding the episode, their subplot feels disconnected, like a rushed attempt to balance the chaotic energy coming from Florida. This is what truly upset fans. Coral Gables doesn't just deliver a weak storyline. It delivers a storyline that undermines characters viewers cared about for years. Louis looks small. Sheila looks manipulative. Harvey and Donna look morally unfocused. The show loses its tone, its elegance, its emotional weight. Fans didn't hold back. Coral Gables? More like Coral Fables. Fake and forgettable. The Sheila stuff killed my vibe. Worst arc ever. This episode doesn't just misfire. It fractures trust. It makes viewers question whether the writers still understood the emotional core of their own characters. Coral Gables isn't hated because it's boring. It's hated because it feels like the moment Suits stopped being Suits. Those were the 5 most hated episodes of Suits. Which episode broke the spell for you? Drop it in the comments. And thanks for watching.